Get the body of your dreams in 30 days. Lose 15 pounds in 15 days without working up a sweat. Get washboard abs in 6 minutes. Fellow Toastmasters, there's no shortcut to good physical health. But it's not as complex as people would make it seem. What I did was I did a lot of research on world-class bodybuilders, power lifters, Olympic weightlifters, and also CrossFitters. And what I did by compiling all this information is I found out what is the core. What 3 movements do you need to really have a healthy, strong, athletic body? And surprisingly, it was pretty consensus. So what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to explain the 3 core movements for having a strong, athletic, healthy body. Now, I may not be able to act out all these movements today because I don't want to rip my pants and I still have to go to work. But I'm going to break down what I call the core 3. The first one was absolutely consensus about all the different types of weightlifting, and the number 1 movement was the deadlift. Now the deadlift, well, I brought an easy bar here. Normally you would do this with an Olympic flat bar, but I just used it as a visual for you guys. So usually with a deadlift, you would go from a ground position, aka dead, and you would keep your arms normally in a shoulder width part. Some people go wide, it depends, and your foot placement could also be different. If your feet are wide, it would be a sumo. Most people go shoulder length. I tend to go with my feet narrow together because it helps me to activate my hamstrings into the lift so I'm not just snatching with my arms. The reason why this deadlift is so essential is because it works pretty much every muscle in your body. It goes from your feet to your calves, to your quads, to your hamstrings, to your glutes, to your core, to your spinal erectors, to your front, your back lats, your forearms, your hands. It works everything. So it's such a great movement. Not only that, we apply it in everyday life all the time. So like I said, you just get a regular base and you reach down and you're basically lifting up. So it simulates everything you do in your normal life because everything you do is picking something up off the ground and picking it up. So whether it's a child, whether it's a vase, whether it's a box, anything you do in your normal life, it's essential for that. And like I said, it works all the body movements. Second was the squat. Now the squat is the base movement. Some people vary on how they do it again. Some use a wider stance, some use a shoulder width stance, some use feet together, some point toes out. You can do it a number of ways, but it doesn't matter. Just squatting. Basically getting your body to a 90-degree angle and getting it back up. Very simple, but it's very essential. Again, you use your quads, you use your glutes, you use your back, you use your core, you use everything in the movement. I want to show you guys one thing you can do with it. My father is in a walker, and a lot of times he also uses a wheelchair, so he can't do a traditional squat. So what I do with him when I'm working with him is I have him sit down in the chair. And from there, either he would have his walker here or a table or something he could hold himself and brace himself on. And from here, he would do the simple motion of just standing up. That simple motion, it's a squat. It's a change in the movement, and it's not as hard on him and on his knees and his body. He has like no cartilage left in his knees, but it's something he can do. So if you have issues with knees or issues with your back, simple as can be, but it's still a squat, and it's still beneficial for your body. Now, the third movement was my personal favorite, and this one kind of varies from different individuals, but I believe it's the bench press. A lot of people look at it as a bro movement, and it's one of those things when a guy sees another guy that exercises, that's the first thing he asks is, how much do you bench? It's one of those kind of things. But it's actually a very functional movement. When bench pressing, you actually use your core, you use the front and your rear lats, you use your triceps, you use your biceps, you use grip, you use so many different things. And I think it's just wonderful for your body. The bench press is especially important to me because it was one of the first movements that I learned how to do. My father would pick me up from school when I was in high school, and he would come later. So I would have a lot of time in the weight room just waiting on him to come pick me up. And one of the first guys that I had teach me how to bench press was a guy named Mike, and he was the janitor at the school. Now, I'm not positive on this, but I'm pretty sure Mike did a lot of time in the penitentiary because he was massive. I mean, he was so massive he could barely put on his uniform. But he taught us a lot of great principles and basics. And he would teach us how to bench press, and then we would spot him as he bench pressed. Now, I was maybe 110 pounds soaking wet. My friend at the time, he was around the same. And this guy was lifting so much weight that the bar would actually bend. Just ridiculous. But I remember that so vividly, and he taught me a lot of principles, and he carried me out through my life, and I'm so thankful for that. So, I gave you guys 3 movements. These 3 movements, if done even twice a week, and if you can 3 times a week, can completely change your body. Now, I'm not knocking any other kind of exercises. There's tons of exercises and fads and different things that you can do. You can do tons of cardio on all these other movements, but these 3 movements, the deadlift, the squat, and the bench press, just doing those 3 movements can give you a athletic and strong body. Now I want to leave you guys with 3 quotes. 3 quotes to end with. 3 is the magic number today. First quote is 1 is sweat is fat crying. The second one is fit is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. And the third one is the hardest lift of all is lifting your butt off the couch.